All you handsome humans out there in cyberspace. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My mighty, relentless Facebook tribe. All right. Well, today is Thursday. Joe Fulton, how are you, brother? Hey, Joe, I sent you an email connecting you to K4. Mr. Fulton, you need to jump on. We had a great meeting last night. Jason West, good morning, you handsome Marina Del Rey neighbor. I also invited you, Mr. Jason, to if you wanted to pop into our virtual call. Ronnie Patton, he was on our Cape 4 call last night. We had 25 guys on and talked about goal setting. We talked about resiliency. Got to connect with each other. It was really great. So yes, Max was on the call last night. Cool. Good morning, y'all. Okay. So happy Thursday to everybody. And at the risk of just being redundant and pontificating like a sage on the stage, I wanted to share with you the root or etymology of Thursday, because it is today. And the theme is going to be some of the mythological systems, whether they be superstitious or ritualistic, that are interwoven in our worldview and our species. So Thursday comes from the god of thunder, who is Thor. Thor's day is today. And a lot of people don't even realize how embedded Norse mythology is in Northern European, and therefore, because we're actually, English is a Germanic language, and so Norse mythology and paganism is interwoven in all of our current rituals. And for those of us who don't really understand the echoes of the ancient religions and mythologies and worldviews, it's hard to realize the place they sit in our culture. The Christmas tree, that's a pagan ritual, sits in there. So Thursday is Thor. He's the god of thunder, and he is the son of Woden, who's kind of the all-father. He's Zeus in Norse mythology. And Woden is the root of Wednesday. So Wednesday is Woden's day. Thursday is Thor's day. And tomorrow is Freya's day. And then that is she's the queen of the god. She's the wife of Odin, or Woden. And he's got two ravens that sit on his shoulder, wisdom animals. So fascinating. Saturday, what does that sound like? Saturn. Lots of mythology just woven into our culture. So, one of the things I love about mythology is it involves all of those big central themes that are so relevant to our species. And Brene Brown refers to mythology as data with a soul. And the human condition is endlessly complex, and it can be a journey wandering through the fog lands of uncertainty. But what mythology does is it gives us the metaphors of these ancient conundrums and challenges and overwhelm and that we're currently experiencing right now. It's how do I deal with uncertainty? How do I deal with death and pride and ambition and betrayal? Like everything that we're currently dealing with has been already deeply digested by our ancestors and then thrown up in a very consolidated mythological form in all of our stories. So being able to refer back to mythology is really, really important. And that's a good one. It's a good thing to study. It's the handbook of our species, of our mythologies, whether that be the Bible or Chinese mythology or Norse mythology. Pick the one that inspires you and do a little digging. It will be a worthwhile use of your time today. Okay, Um, and I wanted to share some of the things today about uh, the way we use our time and being very intentional about being able to find out what gives us the largest return on investment about our attention. And I see a lot of people right now who are being very reactive and um, desperately following this foamy whitewater of the churn, the news cycle and just the chatter and chaff of what social media and is throwing out these days. And so we actually have a very good barometer, like a compass that allows us to navigate through things. And it's called our feelings, right? It's our intuition. It's our limbic system that runs inside of our prefrontal cortex and our executive function. And that limbic system is really the source of our intuition. And so when people are focusing on stuff below their head, then they generally will say, well, I followed my heart, right, below your head. I went with my gut. I, um, you know, I just made a decision by the seat of my pants. So that's all limbic system stuff, and it's the way that we get in touch with our intuition and our feelings. And so when we are looking at what is the best way to invest our time, and right now we have nice chunks of time, and how are we going to be able to navigate through those things intentionally? So what I wanted to kind of break down for you is that there's a couple different ways that we can touch base with our feelings. And the first one's going to be about people. And who do we choose to connect with? And generally we will notice two things when we have an interaction with somebody. And this comes from our limbic system. Number one, we notice, are they warm or are they cold? Like, are they somebody who's engaging and emotional and safe? And are they connected, right? And then secondly, we notice competence or incompetence. And those are the two big things that our limbic system initially will just automatically know within less than a second of connecting with somebody. And so those two things will put you in one of four different boxes. If you are somebody who is cold and incompetent, ooh, that's the worst, right? People will generally be repulsed, and they will reject, and they will like, oh, I don't want to mess with that. And if you are somebody who is cold and competent, woo, that's somebody that is threatening and a potential enemy. So when you're powerful but cold, people are going to be very standoffish to you. If you are warm but incompetent, then people will generally be friendly with you but dismissive. And then lastly, of course, what you want to be, right? It would seem to me it should be somebody who is warm and competent, because those are your allies. And so we can feel that, and we can also start crafting our behavior so that we can have other people feel that from us. And we want to be able to make sure that we're being the witness of our journey as well as the participant of our journey, so we can intentionally create those experiences with people. And I'm not talking about sales strategy, although it does relate to that. It's just simply how we're connecting with people, even in a virtual place. So that's the first piece about feelings and how we're connecting with people. And we want to be around people who are powerful and good, right? That's the heroic combination. And so many times in our current culture, we are given an either or binary choice of, you can either be a good, virtuous, justice-oriented person who is kind of weak and dismissible, right? That's the snowflakes that they talk about. Or the other version is, you can either be powerful, right, and successful, and corrupt. So generally, you either get to be good or you get to be powerful. Choose one. And those are bleak choices. They really are. That means I can either be competent or I can be warm. Like, oh, geez. we actually are allowed to be both warm and competent, both powerful and good. And if you refer back to mythology, those are the true heroes combination. And we don't see a lot of that heroic ideals outside of obviously comic books and superhero movies and whatnot. But it is a through line that allows people to navigate that golden path of how can I be competent and powerful, successful, uh, abundant, but also be aligned with virtue and service and altruism. So again, we have a beautiful barometer to be able to navigate through those things. Jordan Peterson talks about in his 12 rules for life. One of the rules is don't lie. And he is self-admitted that's the hardest one. It is hard. It's hard not to lie. Um, we lie to ourselves. We lie to others. If you look at my social media on Instagram, obviously we don't all look like that. We're not living that great of a life, um, and so we're not being as pristine as we could be all of the time. However, it's important that we try. It's important that we calibrate as much as we can to authenticity and truth, because not only does the world run on truth, but Jordan Peterson says that every time that we do tell a lie or we dissemble or we manipulate, then it warps our navigation compass a little bit. And at some point, we realize we're not really able to get a clarity of what's good, bad, right, wrong. And so truth is one of the things that keeps that compass pristine. And even if, like me, your compass is a little bit wonky because of the world that we were born into, um, I wanted to share with you some of the metrics that I kind of go through in terms of looking at my prioritization. And the first one I'd like to share is the difference, and I got this from the Dalai Lama probably 20 years ago, and it sounds very remedial, what I'm going to share with you right now, but for me, it was mind-bending when I first read this. Okay? And it was the difference between pleasure and happiness. And so I think for a lot of people who are participating in the conversations of the world these days, that's very remedial, but sometimes the best information is remedial, and everything that we really need to know, we learn in kindergarten, right? Share your toys, be nice, don't bite. So the difference between pleasure and happiness is really where the first thing starts. And one of the metrics for that is how does it feel after the experience is over? Like after I watched that show, or after I spent that time on that feed, or after I ate that meal, how do I feel? Did I feel positive and uplifted and optimistic and vital? Or did I feel sullied? Do I feel low? Do I feel, um, just a sense of malaise and dis-ease and the French ennui? It's like, oh, ooh, I feel that drained. Okay, so generally the things that leave us feeling drained, whether that be people, activities, projects, food, shows, those were pleasurable. And there is always an equal amount of pain that is connected to pleasure because it's externally sourced. And in Buddhism, everything is balanced. And so everything that you are doing that is following an external source of pleasure is going to contain an equal amount of pain to it. Sometimes the pain is just, wow, the ice cream's over. Sometimes the pain is, ooh, I just got fat. Sometimes the pain is existential. Like whatever it is, there's going to be pain and suffering involved. So the way out of that is stop choosing things that are just pleasurable and choose things that are happiness or joyful. And the difference is pleasure is external, right? Joy and happiness is internal. And so the things that bring us joy and happiness, whether they be a conversation, a partnership, a project. Those are the ones we want to invest in because they have that return afterwards of an uplift, a, a positive, optimistic, growth-oriented piece. And um, I don't like salads. Salads make me tired. Just eating a salad makes me tired. But afterwards, I feel better. And it could be psychosomatic, could be the placebo effect. Whatever it is, I feel better after I eat a salad, and I feel worse after I eat ice cream. So, we want to make investments in our lifestyle so that we feel better long term in our life. And this is the nature of the word sacrifice or sacred. If we choose things that are sacred, then they're going to have that feeling of challenge. We have to give something up, which leads me to the next echelon. So once we start choosing things that are happiness related, like, okay, now here's the next distinction. What's the difference between happiness and passion? Like passionate. And so once we've kind of weeded out, and this is the bad habits, that's the pleasure stuff, right? It's still there. When we start creating a day, a schedule for ourselves during these quarantine times that is happiness related, now we start looking at things that are passion related. And passion differs from happiness in that passion is not actually being so much fully alive or inspired. Passion means to suffer or pain, like the passion of the Christ. Calm passion is to suffer with. And so happiness makes you feel good. Passion leaves you much more inspired, and you're going to burn a little bit with passion. And so we need to be mindful about how much energy that we have and how much energy it takes to choose passion-based things. But boy, this is the moment we start going from just our habitual behavior into practices. Practices are always growth-oriented. Practices are always hard. And obviously we have only a certain amount of energy and willpower to keep driving things forward. But once we do find that vein of gold that is passion-oriented, then it can be self-perpetuating in many ways. So we go from pleasure to happiness to passion. And yesterday, ironically, I was wearing I wear a different client's shirt every day for my 300 workout. And Sweet Green, they make salads and stuff. My wife loves them. And one of my good friends, Jen, works there, and the Sweet Green shirt says passion and purpose on it. So ironically, when we start following that scent trail of passion, the things that we would be willing to suffer for because it's that important to us, at some point we realize that passion is going to be connected to people. And that's service. Like, oh, that thing that I'm passionate about, whether it be art or writing or food or whatever it is, whatever that thing is that you're passionate about, well, somebody is going to be improved by that. Somebody will be elevated. Somebody will be healed. Somebody else will be inspired. And the moment that passion that we follow lands with how does it serve other people, then now we're in the realm, a very rarefied realm of purpose. And purpose is that's the magic bullet. I in my world view, world according to Philip, is once people do have found a purposeful thing that they are doing. That's a very strong statement because it means that it includes meaning. It means that you're aligned with your vision. It means that all of a sudden you no longer have a job, you have a career. You no longer have endless dragging hours that grind by until the thing you really want to do, you actually run out of hours and they fly by because you're in the flow state most of the time. It doesn't mean that it's easy. In fact, if you track backwards, Anytime that you are going to be truly in purpose, it means that you have suffered and you're willing to suffer. That's the passion piece. You're willing to give up a lot of pleasure. In fact, you would readily sacrifice those pleasures. And it's not always easy to do that. Walking this golden path is not for the faint of heart, but it certainly is, for me, the only way that I can see my way out of the woods is to do that. So those are my thoughts for today. Uh, the that pursuit of being able to navigate through the messy human condition of happiness, pleasure, passion, purpose. Uh, that all those stories are are woven in the fabric of mythology. So you will see the echoes of your current state if we're able to dig into those things. And we'll also be able to benefit greatly from connecting with other people and getting feedback about our journeys. We can really see ourselves um, with a lot more clarity through other people's eyes. So stay connected with your people. Choose wisely today where you invest your time. Don't get distracted by all the chatter and clamor of pleasure-based things. And have a sacred day. Have a sacred Thor's Day. God of Thunder. All right, y'all.